Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We're now delighted to be joined over the telephone by His Excellency Ambassador Ayman Musharaffa, the former Assistant Foreign Minister. It's a very good afternoon to you, Mr. Ambassador. Good afternoon, Mr. Ambassador. Can you hear us?
Yes.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ambassador, for joining us this afternoon on our edition of Arab Affairs.
Yes.
Right. Mr. Ambassador, let me start, of course, by asking you on the latest developments in the Gaza area, where Israeli occupation forces said they've ended their operations in the northern Gaza area after days of intense fighting and over 200 airstrikes. How do you see this latest development on the ground, Your Excellency?
Well, this latest development, of course, represents maybe a breakthrough in the whole crisis, but it's up to the leadership of Hamas to decide whether to accept this package, yes or no. I mean, nobody is taking decision for the Palestinians, but I do believe that, in my own opinion, that the Gaza Strip needs a truce, needs a time to take a fresh breath, and the international community would help and send humanitarian aid to the people in Gaza after 8 months of a disastrous war, which have left most of the Palestinians homeless and destroyed 90% of the infrastructure, 92% of homes, most of the power station, most of the electricity capability. The plan is not clear yet, whether it will be accepted or not. It's a three-phase plan. I think this plan is emphasizing on the return of the hostages, because the return of the Israeli hostages is becoming a high priority in Israeli politics. And there is a mounting pressure on the Prime Minister from the Israeli public opinion to release the hostages. And the Israeli public opinion is deeply divided on this issue. Only the far-right political parties, they do not care about the plight of the hostages, and they do prefer that this destructive war will drag on.
Absolutely. Your Excellency, now we're talking about over 36,379 Palestinians which have been killed in the Israeli air and land war in Gaza, in addition to over 82,400 injured in much of the densely populated enclave, which now actually lies in ruins. How do you see, as part of the roadmap that is being discussed now and that was presented by the American President Joe Biden towards a full ceasefire, how do you see this impending plan? How do you see the three-stage process? Are you optimistic that it could finally show some development towards a ceasefire on the ground?
Of course, the American President, he himself too, is under mounting pressure from the American public opinion, which are demanding the cessation of fire and a reconsideration of the American position, since Israel lately has used American lethal weapons in killing innocent women and children, lately in Rafah, and inflicting heavy casualty on innocent people. And the President is running into elections very soon, so he wants to find a political save life formula for him,
yes,
to solve this issue, which will become definitely a burning issue in the next American election, from the Hispanic and the visible minority in the United States and the new generation and youth, which are in favor of the Palestinian cause. But I do believe that the most important issue was not addressed very clearly, that they should start actually a peace negotiation for a durable solution, because without having a two-state solution, as our President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi said several times, it will be just a ceasefire. And since 2004, we had many Israeli aggression, many wars, and it ended in just temporary ceasefire and the aggression, the Israeli aggression resumed after ceasefire. So, I mean, a peaceful and final solution, and a two-state solution, would really appease the tension and once for all solve the Israeli-Palestinian conflict.
Absolutely, Your Excellency. Now, of course, Egypt has played a critical role with regards to mediating as well as assisting the Palestinians with the delivery of aid and, the facilitation of this delivery. How do you see the role of Egypt with regards to the delivery of, medical aid and food, etc., especially in as much as they have called for this delivery to be sustainable delivery, as much more is constantly needed to get to the Palestinians?
From the outset of the crisis, last 7th of October,
yes,
the Rafah crossing was, the only lifeline to Gaza, because other 6 border crossings were closed by the Israelis, and drop by drop, the humanitarian aid was flowing, and even the airdrop solution was not sustainable, because most of the airdrop solution were inflicting sometimes casualty gone into the sea. So the only viable area was the Rafah border crossing. So Egypt always was hailing that we should find a way to deliver the Palestinians humanitarian aid to the Palestinians on their land, where they live, not to deliver aid to the Palestinian somewhere. The Palestinians should return to their homes, and the aid should reach them in their area of living, because it's partly an ethnic cleansing, which constitutes a war crime, like the criminal court have reiterated in the ruling very clearly.
Yes, indeed, Mr. Ambassador. And also Egypt has played a crucial role with regards to, aside from aid delivery, also receiving, injured Palestinians, providing medical care in different medical facilities all around the country. How do you see this very important role that has been played by Egypt, considering it is, it shares a border with the Palestinians?
Even before the crisis, the Rafah border crossing was an outlet for sick Palestinians to go to be treated in Egypt, in Egyptian hospitals, and after the start of hostility, most of the hospitals in Sinai, in Al Arish especially, and in Cairo received critical conditions for injured women and children. The Rafah border crossing was the only outlet and lifeline for the Palestinians to be treated, to go to study, to travel for pilgrimage, to have the humanitarian and the daily food rationing. Before the crisis, 800 trucks were crossing the border, the Rafah border crossing inside the Gaza Strip. So 80% of the day-to-day life of the Palestinian was through the boarding, the crossing of Rafah.
Yes.
Egypt always has been an advocate and a help for the Palestinians long time ago.
Absolutely. Now, with the current dire situation, as we and the whole world has been witnessing the constant aggression and the occupation forces' attacks on civilians, women and children, there is a lot to be said for the lacking role of the international community, even in spite of the International Court of Justice's declarations and announcements. Still, the international community has come short when it comes to, taking a positive role with regards to the Israeli aggression on the Palestinians.
Most actually of the United Nations specialized agencies, like the Human Rights Council, like the UNICEF, like the UNESCO, like even the General Assembly, which is the parliament of the world, have voiced their concern for what is happening. Even the General Assembly recognized the state of Palestine with a majority of nearly 104 states, 40 states. But still, the issue is in the hand of the Security Council, which is a body which maintains and enforce international order, and should enforce the ruling of the International Court of Justice, because the International Court of Justice is the legal branch and the legal hand of the world. So I do not understand how the Security Council, and especially the United States, didn't uphold and enforce the international legitimacy.
Indeed, Your Excellency. And again, as you mentioned, all these entities have, said what Israel is doing is unacceptable. This is, against every single possible international law. Yet still they continue to do so and continue their war on Gaza and the Palestinians. And in spite of all this, we're also seeing lots of pressure being exerted by, international populations. We're seeing lots of demonstrations, protests, lots of scuffle here and there, all around the world, taking the side of the Palestinians, asking for a ceasefire, asking for military aid to be stopped to Israel, etc. How do you see, this kind of protesting and demonstrations, etc., pressuring governments?
The protest is very good. The protest has been in London and in Paris and in Madrid
and the United States.
Even some governments moved and recognized the state of Palestine in Europe, like Spain, like Ireland, like Norway. But we want to move to the second phase, and the second phase is to start to impose sanctions against Israel: travel sanction, economic sanction, investment sanction. Right now, after this criminal court ruling, many Israeli officials will have problems traveling abroad. We want a travel ban and a visa limitation on Israeli officials.
Yes, indeed, Mr. West.
To put a mounting pressure on them, like it happened in other areas, like in Sudan, like in other countries, which was not in conformity with the international legitimacy. We want to see the international community start to really move to the second and the third phase to punish Israel.
Absolutely. And how about, the latest recognition of Palestine by nations like Spain, Norway, and Ireland? Does this, work towards a favorable outcome when it comes to the two-state solution, in your opinion?
Yes, of course, and other countries are studying. Slovenia, the Slovenian parliament have approved a motion to recognize the state of Palestine, and I think other countries are on the move, because the public opinion is putting pressure on governments, and especially some governments are facing elections. So in the meantime, those governments have to face the public opinion, and to give the public opinion justification why they didn't move, why they didn't go in favor of humanity, why they didn't uphold international legitimacy. That's the question that those politicians will be accountable to the public opinion. And you have even the British election, the 7th of July, and Prime Minister Sunak is under pressure, and many of his caucus have just defected to the opposition party because the Prime Minister didn't take adequate measures to be not in the side of Palestine or Israel, to be on the side of the international legitimacy on humanitarian law. That's the point. We are talking about human and international feeling and international, from the understanding from the people.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's not just politics, it's just humanity.
Absolutely. Your Excellency Ambassador Ayman Musharaffa, former Assistant Foreign Minister, thank you very much, sir, for your time and your insight and for joining us on today's edition of Arab